What is your definition of BIM?
For me, BIM is it's many things, but I think the most important thing is that it's structured information, and 3D geometry is one part of the information which lies in BIM objects. So if you get this established, that we can, just have a lot of information on geometry, then we have a lot of possibilities going forward. And we can, I see in the projects I've been working on, we can just reduce risk so much because we have full control over all the elements in our project. So, and then now there's so many possibilities with scanning, georadar, and all of this. There's a new trend, I think, that at least in our company, that all the leaders want to have their information presented in dashboards, and I think that's really achievable with the BIM models. We can extract information from our models and we can present it to them in just a web browser. So that's great.
Imagine, like, we have always have this. I tell people, like, BIM is something we've always had. We had it for 1,000 of years. You know, when the Romans built Rome, they had drawings for that. The drawings described what they should build. That's BIM. We just have to understand that the only thing that is new within BIM as a concept, why we call it BIM today, it's because of the digital technique. The tools are different. We had a hammer. Now we have a nail gun, and in the future we may have a robot for everything that comes with it. We have a computer today. We had pen and paper yesterday. That's the only difference. I usually one thing I always ask when I hold courses in BIM processes, I ask my students, like, what came first, BIM or CAD? And they always answer CAD, but that's wrong. BIM, of course, came first, because CAD, in the name you can hear it. CAD is computer aided design, so you need a computer. So the CAD can't be there before the computer. But BIM, building information modeling, we have done that for forever. So and I think that's the concept I want to change. It's a very clear goal for me to change the business to understand that don't talk about BIM as something new. Talk about BIM as something we have done always. So we can start talking about what the tools actually are. A lot of cases today points out that we maybe we were better at this some years ago than today, because as we talked about the data, we get lost today. Like I've heard some project managers in Sweden, they say, like, oh, we want to BIM everything. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, BIM everything? Are you? No, you don't. And they're like, yes, we do. And like, no, you absolutely don't. You just don't understand the concept of BIM. That's the thing. But also, you would also hear people like really experts telling you that BIM is a concept. Okay, good. That's a good explanation. But then in the next sentence they will say, like, yeah, and then when you have a BIM model, and I'm like, oh, you just said model twice.
Yes.
Or did you mean the CAD model? Because what you mean is a BIM model. I think you often mean the CAD model. BIM is still BIM. BIM is just a process and concept of processes. But the CAD model is the geometrical computer drawn model. If I draw it on the paper, then it's not, then it's still BIM, but it's not a CAD model. So people mix those explanations too much, I think. Big companies, like huge international companies, still write on their webpage BIM model. They don't even understand what the concept is about. I'm afraid of that, because I think like, oh my god, they're just in this for the money. If you really want the BIM to work for you, stop talking BIM. It's like, understand that BIM is already what you do. I mean, I don't hear surgeons talking about what the concept of surgery means.
Yeah.
They talk about how you do things, like how do you do it, how do you execute it. And it's the same with the BIM concept. Like stop talking about it so much. I mean, that's why I call myself BIM philosopher. So I use the word, of course. Also, we all do. But it's like, it's the same as I would call myself a building engineer, not just an engineer. Why do I do that? Because I want to tell people that yes, it's about buildings. So BIM should be a word we use just to understand, like what do you work with? BIM, like buildings. That's the thing. But don't mix in the information modeling as a concept of words to be used more than it is. Of course we have information. It's like, how can you do anything without information? Building information modeling. Well, without an information model of anything, you can't do anything. So just teach out that to and teach that to children already today. Like for instance, like we have other words for other businesses. Teach the children also that it's BIM. Have them separate, like what CAD is a tool. CAD is about computer aided designing. But BIM is the business. BIM is what we have done.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good way to start separate those things into order, because we can't have people, we can't have experts going on with telling people like, oh yeah, we should BIM it. Like what do you mean, like BIM it? It sounds ridiculous. It sounds stupid.
I bet everyone you ask has a different one, and it's just interesting, isn't it? I mean, simpler in the simplest way. Obviously, it's a process for defining, creating, and exchanging structured data and documents, isn't it? In a repeatable process. That's, I suppose, the simplest definition, and you hear lots of them. I actually don't. The one from ISO 19650 isn't, it's not completely plain language to someone picking up fresh, but it's as good as any of them. I can't rattle that off the top of my head at the moment, but yeah, fundamentally, it's trying to improve information management, isn't it? Modern day information management, repeatable standards in a process, and utilising technology to manage that and get better outcomes.
I think for me, BIM is about cooperation, about better involvement throughout the supply chain. So you will have less errors, more efficiency, hopefully, due to the fact that everyone should have updated information in real time, which, I mean, we're not there yet, but that's, I think that's the goal we are working towards. So I would say for me, well, you could say it's digitalization, but then again, digitalization is just a tool to reach some kind of goal. So I think for me, BIM is about collaboration. I feel that there's a lot of good initiatives going on when it comes to digitalization, but it is like, it's silos, as you are saying. I mean, there's a lot of things going across the supply chain, but quite many of the initiatives are in a silo. So it's, the contractor union, they have their they have their view on digitalization, and you have then the RIF. So you have EBA, which is then the contractors. You have RIF, which are the engineers. You have Byggevareindustrien, which is the construction products producers. You have Virke, which is the construction products retailers. And you have all these organizations, and they kind of have their view on how things should be, which are quite good, I think. Very good for them. The problem is that it doesn't always work when you are working across the supply chain, which, I mean, that's what we are basically doing in the construction industry. Most of the time, you don't have these big companies who can manage everything themselves, at least not in Norway. So you need to collaborate. You need to work together with other companies, and then you need to look at digitalization across the supply chain.
Definition of BIM, information. I mean, for me, that's all it really is. It's just information. You know, a huge focus on me is leveraging the data behind BIM. I mean, there's so much of it, and you know, every day, in every project, there's all this information that's generated, and it's all data. And you know, BIM is a part of that, and it's just data. You know, what I try to focus in that is where in this project can I leverage BIM in a better way, but also, you know, can we learn from this data so we can make better decisions in the future and currently. So